What's up, everybody? I am your host, a rich doctor who likes to cheat on his wife, and that is my co-host, a scummy photographer who is paid to expose my discretions. And we are both chained up in this studio, ready to play a deadly game. Because today, we are covering the film that kicked off the torture porn subgenre and a major horror franchise. That's right, we are talking about James Wan's Saw from 2004. What a big movie, man. Like,
Very, very big movie.
yeah.
I would argue that I think I Hostel came quite
Nope.
before this, didn't it?
2005.
Hostel was the first Hostel came after this?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Well, I
Yep.
stand corrected.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I feel like in my mind, Hostel was just first for some
I
reason.
wondered that too, and I looked it up just to be safe because somebody was going to say that, and it turned out to be you.
Well,
Yeah, it came a year later, and this movie actually started production long before 2004, about 2001 or 2. It just took a while to get off the ground.
uh,
So, yeah.
yeah, this movie's, I mean, it spawned a whole very, very successful franchise. There's this yeah, a very, like, dark, grimy feel that most of the Saw movies have, especially the early ones, and one thing I can say about the Saws that is the most impressive is it was a super original idea, but even after the initial one, when you know that it's John Kramer, they do a really good job at every single movie, still having surprises. You're still wondering who's behind it. It's because he has now these assistants that work for him, and there's just they do such a really good job at twists. And this movie laid the foundation and a really good baseline for that. And this movie itself has multiple twists in it, but probably one of the greatest twist endings of all time, especially of the 2000s on.
Yeah. So, the reason I picked the movie is because I got into learning a little more about Giallo movies, and it was a point was made in a video I was watching that Saw is kind of a modern version of that, which makes total sense. And when I went and did my first rewatch of the movie, I could see that so much more clearly than I'd ever had before. And then as I started doing my research for the movie, I started to kind of learn just how fucking low budget this movie is. And once I learned that, and I went and I started writing the plot and watching the movie again, it sticks out to me just how much of a struggle it was to make the movie because there was hardly any money. It's weird because we've covered movies that were done for about $1 million before, and they're so much more full, more polished movies. There'd be some things I kinda talk about in this movie where you're like, "Damn, they were really kind of, hanging on by a thread a lot compared to other movies I've seen made for $1 million." And it's interesting. It's something that I didn't notice. I think that after you listen to this episode and you go back and you watch Saw again, I think you're gonna see it in slightly, different light.
Well, I noticed because this is the first time I've watched the original Saw in quite some time. It's
Same.
been a long time. I realized that it was a lot lower of a budget feeling movie than what I remember. And I think of Saws as all these like awesome practical effects, but we don't get a whole lot of practical effect kills
This
really
movie
at
was
all.
was way more tamer than I remember.
Yeah. Most of the Saw movies is you're going through these different games, but the original took place it was really one game. We get some flashbacks of 2 games that happened prior to this, but it takes place in most of the movie takes place in this bathroom,
Yeah.
and there's very little variation of sets, like, I even noticed that the parking garage scene is way, way, way smaller than a parking
Oh,
garage. It's almost like a
I talk about that later on because I noticed it and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
yeah, yeah, that was just that and that's an example of one of the scenes I noticed, like, wow, they must have been rolling on a really, really small budget because they didn't really have much at all for a parking garage. With that said, they really make up for their lack of, I guess, funds with really good art. Their special effects, their art department, the people who built the sets did an amazing job, and I think that that's needed in a movie where you're running off of limited funds.
So, Saw was praised for its original style, right? We get, surveillance camera footage. We get a lot of, like, still shots of stuff, like, a good example is, like, the newspaper articles and stuff, and what I found out was it kinda just worked out. They didn't mean to create this unique style. They had filmed the whole movie, and then when they went to edit it, they were like, "Fuck, we don't have enough footage to edit this together to make sense, so we've gotta come up with something to fill the gaps," and the actors have already moved on to other projects, so they couldn't bring them in. There's even some stuff I'm gonna talk about where w we had to get somebody to play a different character because the actor had already left, but, you wouldn't notice without knowing it. But, basically, they said, like, they had to like, the surveillance footage, the newspaper shots, the different, stuff like that, they had to add all that stuff in because they didn't have enough movie filmed, which
Yeah,
is wild. So, this really cool style that they came up with that people like was totally just they were forced into that because of money. Money and time. So, with that being said, you ready to jump into Saw?
I am.
Alright.
Hello, boys and ghouls. If you want to stay up to date on what's going on with the show, talk about or submit your movie requests, or just say die, then I got good news for you. You can always find us at one of our social media accounts or our official website at Grindhouse.Horror.Pod.com, Facecrook at the Grindhouse Syndicate Horror Podcast, Instascam at grindhousesyndicate.horror.pod, and many gore, which you can always find links for in the show notes as always. And you know what I always say, the morgue, the merrier. So please subscribe or follow for alerts on new episodes. Now, back to the show, kiddies. Frights, camera, action.
And if you really love us and don't want us to get kidnapped and forced to play a game, give us a review. Saw is a 2004 American horror film directed by James Wan in his directorial debut and written by Lee Wendell. It also stars Wendell alongside Carrie Elwes, Danny Glover, and Michael Emerson. It was produced by Twisted Pictures and Lionsgate. It had a budget of $1.2 million and a box office of a whopping $104 million.
That's pretty fucking crazy.
That is crazy.
On a $1 million budget.
Yeah. The film tells a very non-linear story revolving around the mystery of the jigsaw killer who tests his victims' will to live by putting them through deadly games where they must inflict great physical pain upon themselves to survive. So how this all came to be is Juan and Winnell met in film school where after they graduated, they decided they wanted to make a film together. Now, thanks to small, low-budget films like the Blair Witch Project, the two thought that the cheapest script to shoot would involve two actors in one room. Fun fact, the original idea was to have the entire film set with two actors stuck in an elevator being shot in the point of view of security cameras. Thank God we didn't do that, because that they did that, kind of in the movie. What's the movie? Is it Devil? That sound right?
Ah,
Yeah, it's
I'm not
all
sure, but that sounds like a movie that would go straight to Netflix.
well, I think it was on Netflix, but I wanna say it was an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and it's the movie where it's like 5 people are in this elevator, and the elevator gets stuck, and then the lights cut off, and when they cut back on, like, one person's dead, and that keeps happening, and they're trying to figure out, and spoiler alert, the evil person is the granny.
Mhm.
The demon is the granny.
Is she a rabid granny?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
certainly was.
She, possessed by chance
Does
by,
she eat
Satan himself?
she eat someone's ass?
Yeah, eat somebody's ass to death. She tossed their salad
Yeah.
to their untimely demise.
Now, it was Juan who actually came up with the idea of 2 men chained to opposite sides of a bathroom.
Damn, James.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind?
With a dead body in the middle of the floor, and they're trying to figure out why and how they're there, and also he came up with the twist ending. So, I wish you could think of these ideas now.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, the fucking ending of this movie is incredible, but like I said, the writing throughout the franchise in the earlier films is phenomenal. You really gotta watch them in order, and I've only sat down and watched them in order once
I have
and
never.
realized one thing I will say is the writing's really good, but continuity-wise, this franchise really did something that a lot of franchises have struggled to do
Well,
as
that's
far as
Twisted Pictures having the same
yeah.
group of people with it for quite some time.
Yeah, they're able to get their actors back, even playing roles that maybe they hadn't played in 3 movies, 4 movies.
Mhm.
The jumping around, like, by the time you get to, like, the 4th movie, jumping around and they're doing flashbacks to stuff that happened behind the scenes in the 1st and 2nd movie, and they do it's really impressive the way that they're able to write and not trip over themselves, and, yeah, I mean, the foundation that James Wan and the other guy who wrote it, that guy's name.
Lee Winnell.
Winnell, yeah, I mean, James Wan gets the credit for it, though, that's everybody thinks of James Wan when they think of Saw, but yeah, man, he I told Brooke, I'm like, "You The Conjurings probably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the m massive
Yeah.
success that this
Oh, it
movie
wouldn't.
was."
So the character of Jigsaw did not come until months later when Winnell was working at a job that he was unhappy with and began having migraines. Convinced that it was a brain tumor, he went to a neurologist to have an MRI, and while sitting nervously in the waiting room, he thought, what if you were given the news that you had a tumor and you were going to die soon? How would you react to that? He ima
He
he imagined that I guess this was his reaction.
I
He
kill the doctors.
he imagined the character Jigsaw having been given 1 or 2 years to live, and combined that with the idea of Jigsaw putting others in a literal version of the situation, but only giving them a few minutes to choose their fate. After a year, the 2 men actually gave up trying to get the script produced in Australia and eventually moved to LA, where in order to get studios interested, they produced a $5,000 short where Winnell actually played the person in the reverse bear trap, which was shot by Juan on a, get this, 16 millimeter camera.
Huh.
Whoa. Now, one thing that really held studios back from buying this script was the fact that the 2 men were dead set on Juan directing and Winnell acting. This was a big problem for producers until they met Greg Hoffman and his partners at Evolution Entertainment, who loved the short so much that they started Twisted Pictures and just 2 days later offered Juan and Winnell creative control and 25% of the net profits. Pretty good deal.
Yeah. Yeah, considering how much money that movie ended up making, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
good deal.
Saw began principal photography on September 22nd, 2003 at Lacey Street Production Facility in Los Angeles for 18 days. The bathroom was the only set that had to be built, with other sets like the police station being shot in locations where other productions had already built similar sets. So everything you see but the bathroom are just kind of regular sets that they came in, they did their set decoration, shot, pulled it all down.
That's one way to save money.
Yeah. Lionsgate picked the film up just days before it was to premiere at the Sundance Film Festival, where they originally planned to release it direct to video. But after such positive reactions from attendees at Sundance, decided to release it theatrically around Halloween. Saw opened at number 3 on Halloween weekend 2004, bringing in $18.2 million, just under The Grudge. The Grudge barely beat it out. I will mention it did pretty horrible in its home country of Australia, making just $1.2 million its opening weekend. But the good news is they made their whole budget back in Australia
Yeah.
in the first weekend, so there's that.
The Aussies had to, I guess, catch up in the horror world.
They had to
'cause
warm
they're
up to it.
starting to come out with some bangers now.
Yeah. So the film was released on VHS and DVD on February 15th, 2005 in the United States and Canada. After its first week, it made $9.4 million in DVD rentals.
Jeez.
Yeah, and $1.7 million in VHS rentals, making it the top rental of the week. It did eventually go on to sell more than $70 million worth of VHS and DVD in its home video release. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
$70 million on DVD and VHS sales.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you top that or you put that on top of the 100 million it made in the theaters and them getting 25% of it.
Yeah.
Like, you look at something like the Blair Witch Project, that was an independent movie made on a shoestring budget, and they got, what, I think, $1 million? They sold the full
Yeah,
rights for
yeah.
$1 million?
Mhm.
$1 million.
They split it.
Split it,
Yep.
yeah.
A 2-disc uncut edition was released on October 18th of 2005 to tie in with the release of Saw 2. The short film, also entitled Saw, was included on the DVD. The film was later released on Blu-ray on June 27th of 2006, and on May 11th of 2021, Saw was released on Ultra HD Blu-ray with a new, not 4K, 2160p transfer and a new 58-minute making of documentary. Why did they go with the 2160? And I mean, I will agree, like, does the original Saw need to be in 4K? No, because it's kind of grimy. But I mean, you would think they would because of the cell factor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really weird. I was actually talking
But
about it when I went to watch this, and I'm like, I would totally buy a 4K box set if I came across one or they came out with one of this movie, because I realized that I only had all these movies on DVD.
it's funny, I did the same thing.
And
I was like, wait a minute, where's like the 4K box set for this?
Yeah.
And then I was like, there's not even a Blu-ray of it in this house.
I figured that there would at least be a Blu-ray box set, because I was talking about it when I went to put it in. I said I would, if it was a cool enough box set, I'd buy the Blu-ray. I would really like to just go ahead and upgrade it to 4K. That way I don't have to worry about upgrading it for a while. But yeah, very surprised that they haven't
just a
came
20
out with the box set with all of them.
Yeah, it's just a 2160p transfer. It's not a 4K transfer. It's not even a 2K transfer necessarily.
I guess that would be
With 2160, I don't know. I've never heard of a 2160p transfer. I've only heard of a 2K. You got a 35 millimeter transfer, but that's transferring film to film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a 2K transfer, and then a 4K transfer. I've never heard of a 2160. I don't know. There's
I
gotta be
thought
some reason.
2160 was I don't know, I could have it wrong. I thought 2160 was what they considered a 2K.
I don't
Uh,
know.
yeah, I think it just they call it a 2K, but the math comes out to being a 2160, but they just call that slang for a 2K. But I could be wrong about
Yeah,
that,
I don't
but
know.
still very, very weird decision not to release this under a 4K.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
it said it was 2021, right?
2021. So they
Yeah.
were definitely doing 4Ks then. I don't know. Alright, so ratings. Rotten Tom gave it a 50%. IMDb gave it a 7.6 out of 10. Letterboxd a 3.6 out of 5. But the Google average audience rating is a 4.4 out of 5. Totally forgot to look up where you can watch this movie. I don't think you can stream it really anywhere without renting it, so I'll tell you
No,
that. I did look for that.
well, yeah, you can't because when I discovered I only had it on DVD, I was like, "Well, fuck, I'll just stream
Stream
it
it.
to save myself the time of having to get up and put it
Yep,
in and
did the same
switch it
thing.
all over," and
Had to rent it. You know
yeah,
what? Here, I got it. I'll just make it up on the fly. If you would like to watch this movie, you can currently rent it from Amazon Prime, Google Play, Apple TV,
YouTube.
YouTube, and Fandango at home for $3.99. I bet you it's fucking right.
Uh,
I've done this every week for, like, almost 2 years.
or or you can buy it
Or you can
and
just buy it.
and a nice 2160.
60p. Alright, are you ready to dive into the plot of Saw?
Let's saw into this thing.
There's a lot of jumping around, so stick with me. So we start off with a young gentleman named Adam. And Adam, as we are about to see, is unconscious and somehow also submerged underwater. He managed to not drown. But we see this small blue light kind of floating around in his face when he suddenly wakes up, panics, causing his foot to rip the bathtub plug out, which in turn begins draining the water from the tub, where we then see the tiny blue light disappear down the drain. So we then see a very freaked out Adam climb out of the tub, but the lights in the room are off. And he is chained to a pipe with a big, thick ass chain that is connected to his ankle. And after a bit of searching for a light switch, he finds out that he is not alone in this room. The other man is then able to flip on the lights, where it is revealed that they are both chained up on the opposite ends of this very shitty, rundown bathroom. Which I just want to point out, the layout of this bathroom makes absolutely no sense. It's like the size of a public bathroom, but it has one toilet, one tub, possibly a small shower. Like,
It looks like it was, like, gutted,
what
but,
what is the deal with this place?
like, it would make a little more sense that they put some more, like, plumbing
Like, there
spots,
had been other
like
urinals and toilets, but
yeah,
yeah, I looked for that, and there's nothing to show there was any other toilets, like, it's
yeah.
and why is there a bathtub here?
I don't know, we don't know where this building is, it could have been in, like, a old, like, hospital, like a smaller hospital, really old, smaller hospital, or a place where they take care of, like, mental patients or old people or some shit.
And it has a sliding door.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It is very weird, but art-wise, they did a really good job,
Oh, yeah, it's
like,
great.
making it look like the worst place to take a shit ever.
I never I mean, they did a great job. I've never thought about it until I sit down, because when you sit down to watch a movie for the show, it's
Yeah.
very different than just
It's
watching a
just
movie.
like the parking garage thing I referenced. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you really look at stuff a lot different. The idea of taking a shit in this bathroom gives me very, very high anxiety levels.
Yeah.
It is, for one, gross, and for two, it's way too big. Like,
It's
I
way
don't
too
I don't
big.
wanna shit in a room that big. Like, I want
Just
some
wouldn't
I
feel
want something
right.
like a stall that's nice and closed in, like, primarily, like, or preferably its own room, like its own tiny little room. Uh
You're doing that thing where, you know how, like, humans wanna feel comforted like they were in the womb?
That's how I am when I
When you
shit.
when
Like,
you
I wanna be
shit,
in a small room. I don't want to be in a room that's, like, bigger than your average living room.
this thing is like 2 of my bedrooms.
Like, at least give me a stall or something.
Oh, so as Adam starts to look around at this room, he spots a middle-aged man dressed in a sweat-soaked blue dress shirt and a dead man laying in the middle of the floor with a huge puddle of blood and a gun in one hand and a tape recorder in the other. And it is very obvious that this man blew his own brains out.
Yes.
So once things calm down a bit, we find out that the other man, the one that's alive, is Dr. Lawrence Gordon. And he also just woke up here and has no idea what is going on. And as they start talking, we find out that Adam fell asleep in his apartment and then woke up here with no memory of what happened. And Gordon was driving home from work, blacked out, where he also woke up here with no memory of what happened. And they also don't recognize each other. They have never met before, or so they say. So Gordon starts looking around the room for some kind of clue or a way to escape when he notices the only non grimy, old looking thing in this place, which is a brand new clock, which means whoever put them in this place also wanted them to know the time. So this discovery gets Adam's gears turning when he starts to search his pockets, where he suddenly finds an envelope with his name on it. He then quickly rips open the paper where he discovers a small tape with the words "Play Me" written on it. He then tells Gordon about this, where Gordon also finds a tiny tape in his pocket, along with a single bullet and a key. He immediately tries this key on his chain, but of course it doesn't work, where he then tosses it to Adam, who also tries it, but it's, again, no go. So once they realize the key doesn't fit anything in this room, Adam decides to attempt to get the tape recorder from the dead guy in order to listen to the tapes, hoping that it will at least tell them who put them in here or why. Once he gets a hold of it by using the chain on the bathtub plug, he quickly puts his tape in and hits play. And this is where we hear Jigsaw's voice for the first time ever. So once the tape starts playing, we hear a very deep and obvious masked voice say, "Rise and shine, Adam. You're probably wondering where you are. Well, I'll tell you where you might be. You might be in the room that you will die in," which is gold.
That's a very negative thing to say.
That's a
Supposed
very
to supposed to have positivity, Jigsaw.
it's a very
Supposed to
worrisome thing to hear when you just woke up in a room that you don't recognize, chained up.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm with Adam here. I would think somebody stole my organs. I know that doesn't happen very often in real life, but my first thought, being in a bathroom, waking up,
Yeah, in a
I would be
bathtub.
like, "All right, check. What do I got scars? Have they? What'd they take?"
Yeah. So he then goes on to say that Adam has spent his life in the shadows watching other people live their lives, wondering what he sees in the mirror. He then calls Adam pathetic and asks him if he's just going to let himself die or actually do something about it. So he's basically like, "You're a piece of shit. You've always been a lazy piece of shit that blames everyone for your problems, but today you actually have to put in some effort if you want to live." He does not like Adam.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, I don't like Adam either, but I almost feel for him here a little bit. You know, you get sent into a jigsaw game, and he doesn't even tell him how to win
I
or
don't
like what he's
think
got to
there's a
do.
way for Adam to win. I will touch on that at the very end.
Yeah,
Um,
that'll come up
but it
again,
because
but
it is explained, I think, in Saw 2 what happened with Adam. But yeah, as of this game right now, there's no way for Adam to win.
yeah, he's just kind of on the shit end of somebody else's game.
Yes. Yeah, he is very similar to the guy we see in Amanda's game.
You know what? You can tell he's not a janitor. He
No,
would have a lot more respect.
not a respectable profession. So what Adam's immediate response to that is he says he doesn't get it.
I don't either, Adam. I'm right there with you.
Well,
I'm
yeah, we don't either.
confused.
So next up is Dr. Gordon's tape, and after deciding they don't want to risk breaking the recorder by throwing it across the room, he chucks his tape over to Adam, who loads it into the device and hits play. So, but before we go any further, I do want to ask you, do you think that Jigsaw has a hidden extra tape player somewhere in the room in case they break it?
Probably not this early on.
Dude, this
in
whole thing
Saw.
is fucked if they throw that tape recorder and it breaks.
Well, I was thinking about luckily they seen the tape recorder there in the guy's hand. Because if I open this, especially nowadays, and I found this tiny tape, I'd be like, "What the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, imagine like
What even plays this?"
they imagine they break the tape player and then they're just stuck in this room all day, have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. And then,
Jigsaw's got to send the puppet in.
he's the door open, and Billy just rolling there. Here's your new tape player. Don't break this one.
Gotta Billy the puppet comes in with like a TV on the roller, like when you're in elementary school, and it was like you knew it was gonna be a good day because
Yeah.
they rolled in the TV to play a movie.
He's just towing the TV stand on his bike.
I guess it'd be hard to send the puppet in with it, so I guess Jigsaw would have to put his little his pig mask on. He cuts the light out and he's like, "Hey, don't look at me. Hold on, give me a minute."
The light goes out,
Pause.
and then it comes back on, and there's a new tape player there.
And it's like, "Due to unforeseen circumstances, I'm gonna add an extra 30 seconds to your time."
I mean, it couldn't be prevented if you just gave them both their own tape players. I mean, we find out that he ordered them in bulk, apparently.
Yeah.
That's what the police need to do. Like, how do we find out who Jigsaw is? Well, we'll just ask Amazon who's ordered this many tape players.
Well, my thought is like how they end up getting the tape player, which he has to take the drain plug and it catches the loop.
Yeah, which would took me half the time.
What if it literally took them like all of the time?
It would have took me literally half the day to get that in there.
Yeah, because I was thinking of like all those stupid trick shot videos that people post that they'll
Yeah.
spend like fucking like a week trying a
Yeah.
trick shot. And I'm like, this is some shit that probably would have taken like 6 or 7 hours. I would be fucked.
So we then listen to Gordon's tape where we hear the same deep, slowed down voice where it basically says, as a doctor, you spend every day telling people they are going to die, but the day might be the day that you yourself dies. Unless that is, you figure out a way to kill Adam before 6 o'clock. He also informs them that the man dead in the middle of the room killed himself because he had a bunch of deadly poison in his blood and decided to take the much quicker way out with the gun. And right before he ends the message, he tells Gordon there are ways all around him to kill Adam and to look around for an X. If he does not kill Adam by 6, then his wife and daughter will die along with himself. And with that being said, let the games begin.
Unless you're Adam, where there is no game. You're just, not only do you not get told any rules, now you have to listen to this tape player to find out that the guy across from you's whole game is to murder you.
And he's got a bullet.
Yeah.
You didn't get anything. So
Okay, he got the tape player. I guess
he got the tape player and he
What-
got the drain plug.
What if he would have turned the volume down real low so he could hear the other
Yeah.
guy's message first?
Yeah. So after that, Gordon then gets Adam to toss him the recorder as we then see him play the tape over a few times with the volume up, which is a good idea because he ends up hearing a secret message that says, follow your heart. And as they start looking around the room, they notice that the toilet next to Adam has a heart drawn on it and shit. prompting Adam
Art
to
the clown has been here.
prompting Adam to literally stick his hand in diarrhea.
Yeah.
I would have 100%, I'm confident in saying this,
Yes.
check the tank before sticking
Yeah.
my hand inside the bowl, especially considering the heart was drawn on the tank.
Yeah.
Like,
When
wow.
he's like, he makes the comment, like, I should have probably checked there first. My thought was, how do you not check there first? Like, bro, I would have tried to break the toilet off of the tile and look under the toilet before I stuck my hand in the shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. It would have taken me probably, like, an hour just for this guy to convince me to put my hand in here. I'd have been like, "You know what? Your whole goal is to kill me. I'm not putting my hand in this shit for you. Fuck you."
If I was Jigsaw, that would be my trap. Like, if you really wanna live, you gotta stick your hand in shit. I wouldn't want them to die.
Do it. Just do it.
So Adam then checks the tank where he immediately finds something wrapped in a black trash bag. And when he unwraps it, he pulls out 2 handsaws. But when he does this, he tosses the bag over into the bathtub, not revealing if there was anything else. But our eagle eye viewers probably saw that there was something else that will definitely come into play later on. So they get these saws and they immediately start trying to cut through the chains, but it becomes obvious pretty quick that the metal chains are way too thick and hard for these cheap little wood saw blades, and this was not their intended purpose, which very much frustrates both these men. And this is where Dr. Gordon realizes that Jigsaw didn't give them the saws to cut the chains, but to cut their foot off in order to get out of the chains. I don't know if this was like everybody. I assume it was, or if it was just me, but this scene like seared into my brain when I first seen this movie. Like, this is what made the movie like really memorable to me, because I think it's one of the things that forces you to put yourself in this position where you ask yourself, like, would I be able to cut my own foot off to survive? I think that's one of the hooks of Saw.
Yeah, this definitely wraps it pulls you into the movie for sure.
Yeah, because
Like,
it makes you think like, "Oh my god, could I do that if I was in this situation? Cut off my own fucking foot with a shitty saw?" Man.
yeah, I think the only way to go through with that, and to even be able to get through that is to be put into a
To do it.
super stressful situation where you almost snap.
Yeah,
Which is, essentially what ends up
and
being
happening, yeah.
written into the story. But yeah, to do this on just it's like no adrenaline, just fear very early on into this when they find the saws. Like I don't think you could get through that without even passing out from from the pain
Yeah, that's
and
a lot of
what you're
adrenaline.
doing. Yeah. But if I was Dr. Gordon, I could definitely try to convince the guy I'm in there with that I'm supposed to kill. Like, bro, you should do it.
You should do it and crawl over here. Give me
But
the gun.
trust me, I'm a surgeon.
Yeah.
I can talk you through this, but if I do it to myself,
You can't
you
talk me
can't
through
talk
it.
me through it. So,
So a now very agitated Adam throws his broken saw across the room where it hits this big glass mirror, breaking a piece off, causing Adam to realize that this isn't your ordinary bathroom mirror. And after breaking some more of it off, he gets Gordon's attention by informing him that this is a two-way mirror and there is a camera recording them.
even more mystery to what the fuck was this bathroom?
Yeah, this gigantic mirror that covers like one whole wall
Yeah, in a bathroom
with a
with
two-way
no
mirror.
stalls. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a two-way mirror in this giant bathroom.
You
Like,
could
who built this bathroom?
you could stand there and watch someone shit in in the corner of this giant room. And this is where the camera starts to zoom into Gordon's face as he announces to Adam he thinks he knows who did this to them. because last he heard, the police still haven't caught the guy, and the only reason he even knows about this is because he himself was considered a suspect. And this is where we get our first of many, 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 many flashbacks as the camera then enters a basement following 3 detectives into a crime scene.
Bro, if I was Adam, I would be like, you're just now fucking putting that together? Like, this isn't something you heard about on the news. You are a fucking suspect. And you're
Yeah.
just now, like, we literally got a tape about playing a game and all
Yeah.
types of shit. You're just now figuring this out?
Soon as I came across the tape recorder, it would have clicked for
Yeah.
me. So this is where we meet 3 of our important side characters. First, we have Detective Tapp and Singh, who they're partners, your standard cop partners, and a solo woman detective named Carrie. So all 3 detectives go into this basement where they immediately see this chain link fence enclosure that is absolutely full of razor wire. And we see that there is a middle-aged, mostly naked white guy dead inside. Interesting thing here, so this guy who played the character Paul, he was actually originally supposed to be Jigsaw. Yeah, he was originally cast as Jigsaw, and then they came across Tobin Bell and replaced him with Tobin Bell. And holy shit, would that I don't know if we'd be talking about this now.
The original Jigsaw was supposed to be dying from diabetes. I'm
Yeah.
so hope the guy who plays Paul's not listening to this.
No, hopefully
He's
not.
not that big. He is a little larger than Jigsaw, though, or Tobin Bell.
Yeah, he's like the opposite of Tobin Bell, though. He's kind of like shorter, rounder, bald. It's just hard to imagine Jigsaw being that guy.
This this trap was always really special to me for some reason. Every time I think of this movie and even the Saw franchise, this is one of the first traps that comes to mind for some reason. I guess it's the way they set it up. We do get like a couple flashbacks of him going through the game and like trying to crawl through the razor wire, but the set that they did, the special effects, the way they set it up with this guy like wrapped up in all this razor wire and he's bled to death. It's something that always seared into my mind. I always thought it was fucking really awesome looking. Like, they even mentioned that he cut himself so deep that they found traces of stomach acid under him. And that line alone always stuck in my head. Like, good God, man. Trying to crawl through razor wire while it's like digging into your fucking stomach and intestines and shit. It just has always stuck in my head. And this is the first time I also realized that poor Paul got put into this trap for cutting himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say that a little bit later because we haven't quite found out why he's in this trap, but yeah, he's in this trap because he tried to kill himself, which this is super fucked up. Like, this guy is battling depression, and instead of getting him like actual help, Jigsaw puts him in a fucking trap that's almost guaranteed to kill him. And this is like a punishment for like a mental illness.
For him just cutting himself too, like, he mentions like, well, did you cut yourself because you didn't value life or did you want attention? Which, if you really want to kill yourself, generally most people don't cut themselves to cut their wrist to actually try to commit suicide. A lot of times that is something like teenagers do for attention a lot of times, or even some people even say it's not to kill themselves, it's like a stress reliever. It's just a weird psychology that goes into that, but like it's not like this guy like OD'd on pills and had to have his stomach pumped, or he tried to hang himself and the rope broke.
Yeah, he already decided he wanted to live when he
Yeah.
went to the hospital.
Yeah, it's just I thought it was really fucked up.
Back to the trap, though, really quick. I assume that this happened to you too, but the first time I actually seen up close real razor wire was in the Army. And I
Uh-huh.
remember every time I seen it, I thought about this,
Uh-huh.
of it being like, "God damn, this is what was in that room? Because
Yeah.
this shit
It's
is
just rough.
rough. This ain't
Yeah.
no barbed wire. This is fucking literally wire with a bunch of razor blades attached to it."
Yeah, I got put on a fucking detail
That shit's
moving
awful.
razor wire once, and
Shit
just
snags everything.
even with having gloves on, it is
Yeah.
an awful thing to have to fucking deal with. To have to crawl through a cage of it would be absolutely horrible.
So Carrie then tells the other two detectives that she found a small tape recorder, which is exactly like Gordon and Adams, and it was in the room with the victim, which kind of explains what happened here. So once she hits play, we hear Jigsaw's voice as he explains why this guy is in this trap. And basically he says that this guy, Paul, attempted to commit suicide by slashing his wrist a few weeks ago. So Jigsaw tells him that if he truly wants to live, then he has to race through the razor wire in just a few, or no, it's like 2 hours. And if he takes too long, then the door to the basement will lock, trapping him in there forever. So obviously, the guy tries to get out by climbing through all of this razor wire, but ends up getting cut too many times and bleeds to death and dies. And this is where we also find out that Jigsaw cuts these little puzzle piece shapes out of every victim's skin. How he got in there after the fact to cut the. He had to do that before.
He knew Paul wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah, I could. I don't think I would make it.
He's like, he probably honestly was. I don't know, man. If I was Paul, I don't even know if I would try it. If I had already like lost my will to live, do I want to die bleeding to death, hung up in some razor wire? Looking at that, I don't know if I would even think it's possible to get through it without bleeding to death.
Yeah.
So I would be like, well, this is a die-die situation. Do I want to sit here and die, or do I want to die in absolute misery?
I just picture, he's hung up because he's like in the middle of this huge cage of razor wire. And I just picture like Jigsaw walking in there and looking at him being like, fuck, I forgot to do the puzzle thing. Fuck it. So,
Send the puppet in.
so after that, we then jump to another one of Jigsaw's victims, which is a guy that has been stripped naked, covered in some kind of flammable jelly, had a fast-acting poison injected into his body, and the only way to get the antidote is to figure out the combination for the safe, which is written on the wall amongst 1,000 other numbers. And all he has for light is a fucking tiny-ass candle. And just to make it even more difficult, there's also broken glass all over the floor. And as you can imagine, he accidentally sets himself on fire with the candle. In my opinion, this is another impossible trap.
Yeah.
Like, dude, there is no way. Even without the glass on the floor, without the flammable jelly, it would still take you forever to try all those numbers.
Yeah.
You'd probably die of starvation before you got them all through.
Yeah, I would like to do the math on the possible combinations of numbers that you would have to go through to even get this.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way. Yeah, this guy was fucked, man. I feel like the broken glass on the floor was kind of a little juvenile. I know this is early Jigsaw, like this is
Trying
one
some
of
things out.
yeah, this is one of his first kills. This may have been his first. We don't know. I don't think they say whether the razor wire guy was first or second, but yeah, juvenile, man. Come on, Jigsaw. He's like, what can I do to make this work?
So,
Broken glass. But I'm on a budget. I'm on a tight budget.
so
Like treatment's expensive.
you know how as the Saw movies progress, the traps get more and more kind of intricate and gruesome. On the Saw subreddit, they call this Sawflation.
Sawflation.
Yeah, literally, like every movie, it just gets more intricate, more gruesome. Yeah,
This
thought that was funny.
he started brainstorming more. He got better. He learned what works,
Yeah,
what doesn't. No, it
suffer.
doesn't work. Glass on the floor. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it did work, but
did
it's
work.
not what What
Not what killed him. Now, Carrie discovers that Jigsaw likes to watch these traps as they're trying to be solved, but this time, the cops find a clue as Carrie holds up a bag with a pin light that belongs to Dr. Gordon, hence why he is a suspect. We then get this quick scene of Gordon explaining one of his patient's x-rays that shows how his cancer is spreading, and this is where we meet one of the orderlies named Zepp, who seems to have developed some kind of friendship with the patient as he yells out that his name is John. So we then see the two detectives show up and question Gordon, where they end up taking him down to the station and begin asking him about the pin light that ended up at the crime scene. Gordon ends up calling his lawyer, who comes down there, and this is where we find out that Gordon has been cheating on his wife, which is why he didn't want to tell the detectives where he was during the time of the crime. So once Gordon is cleared, he then asks if he can go home now, but they're like, no, we got one of Jigsaw's victims who managed to escape, and we want you to watch us question her on how she was able to escape. Which honestly makes no sense to me. Why did they want him to watch this? If he was Jigsaw, he would already know all this.
maybe they were just trying to see what his reaction to her was, because as we find out, Detective Tapp is not fully bought in on him being cleared.
Not at all.
Yeah, so maybe he was just trying to gauge his reaction or maybe her reaction, maybe she recognized him. I don't know. That's the only thing I could put together. If I was him, I would be like, yeah, if I was this infamous serial killer, why would I leave a pin with my name on it?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that seem a little obvious?
Yeah, I can build these intricate traps, but I forgot my pen light with my name on it. So we then see a young woman walk into the room and sit down with Detective Tapp, and this is where we meet for the first time ever Amanda, who ends up being a pretty important character throughout most of the Saw movies. So Tapp then tells her to walk us through exactly what happened, and this is where we get a flashback inside of a flashback. We're double flashbacked here. So we then see Amanda strapped to a chair with this big metal contraption on her head, which we all know as the reverse bear trap, probably the most famous Saw trap in the whole franchise. So she's sitting there kind of struggling, trying to get free from the chair when she suddenly notices a TV screen turn on showing Billy the Puppet, which is this really creepy looking puppet that Jigsaw has made to represent him. Which is an amazing design, man. Like, he is a 9 out of 10 on the creep scale. Like,
Yeah.
he is legendary, he is creepy, excellent design.
Well, he's not even like the original movie. He's such a small part of the movie.
Yeah, very
And I mean, you see how famous that puppet became. I mean, there's literally been replicas of this puppet sold, and he's on the cover of like the DVD set I have. It is literally the cover of it. I just wonder if Amanda was the first one who he ever tried the puppet out on.
I think so.
Like, was he going through test phases here? He's like trying to like see if the puppet was gonna match up with words.
The puppet was actually built by James Wan. It was made out of wood and paper mache, and like his body was made out of paper towel rolls, and he was operated by a fishing string.
Well,
They made a much more intricate version for Saw 2, but the first one, very, very do-it-yourself at home
Well,
kind of deal.
props to James Wan because he
Yeah.
did a good job. It's like two creepy dolls that he has made money off selling. That and the Annabelle doll.
Yeah.
They probably both sold at Spirit Halloween at the same time at some point.
So Jigsaw then tells Amanda that he wants to play a little game with her, and this is where we get the demonstration of how the reverse bear trap works on a mannequin head. One thing I want to point out, Jigsaw is obviously holding the camera filming this. You would think he would spring for a tripod or at least a stack of books or something, because he is shaking the camera all over the place. Like, he is not a good He's not a good filmer.
I think if he was gonna put any money into it, he should have sprung for one of those gelatin skulls with the actual, like, jawbone and brain and fake blood in it, the ones that the people with the, like, shooting channels
Yeah, I
shoot
don't know if they
at.
had that stuff back then.
Ah, well, he's a fucking engineer. He reverse
Just
made a bear
invent it.
trap. He couldn't just make it like a gelatin. God, he coulda rigged it up to a watermelon. It would have been cooler than the ceramic skull.
Yeah, he just kinda looks like he has Parkinson's here with the shaky camera.
Okay, he might.
You might. So we basically see here that when the timer on this thing goes off, it is going to spring open and basically rip her jaw off and probably destroy most of her skull. So he then tells her that there is a key to open the device, but it is located in the stomach of the dead guy who is in the room with her. And she only has so much time to basically dig this key out of this guy's body. And we see that once she stands up from the chair, it pulls a wire, which basically starts the clock. So she has just 60 seconds to do this. So she goes over to his body and she picks up the scalpel. And right as she goes to cut his stomach open, he starts to open his eyes, meaning that he unfortunately is still alive. But Amanda says, fuck that shit, as she then begins cutting and stabbing into his stomach in search of the key, which she does manage to find, where she then unlocks the trap and throws it off as it suddenly springs open. So there's some scenes in this where Lee Winnell had to dress up as a woman because they needed to do a little bit of, this is what I was talking about in the beginning. They realized
Uh,
they didn't have enough and the actors had already went on. And so yeah, he
they
literally,
couldn't get a woman?
that's
He
him.
doesn't have a wife
No,
or
it was
something?
just so their reshoot budget was $400 and it was like him and James Wan.
Yeah,
And
that sucks.
it that like her like going through the guts and stuff to get the key, that's all Lewa now. And it's real pig intestines
Ha
that they used.
Am I the only one that's ever been extremely bothered by the fact that Amanda got a
Way
really
easier trap,
easy
yeah.
game? Like, this has always bothered me, like, throughout all the movies, 'cause they do flashbacks to this, they reference this many times in the sequels. Why does everybody else's games have to do with them hurting themselves to the point of death? Like, some of them are completely unwinnable, especially these early ones that are in this movie, and she didn't even have to hurt herself. All she had to do was cut some guy she didn't know who was, like, drugged out of his mind. I mean, she doesn't know that, but he initially says the guy's dead. I don't know if he meant for the guy to be dead at that point, if he just ran out of, like, drugs to shoot him up with, like pain medication.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh, yeah, but yeah, it's always bothered me that she got this, like, super easy game. Like, when you look at the Saw games and you're like, and everybody does it, I think. I know you've done it, I do it, almost every one of them. I think, "Okay, could I survive this?"
Yeah, yeah.
This one's always been easy, like, "Yeah, I would survive
I'd
that."
totally kill a guy and dig through his intestines for a key.
To avoid my face being ripped in
Yeah.
half? Absolutely.
I've seen a lot of people bring up a really good point of what was this guy's game?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
survive someone digging in your stomach?
Yeah, I literally I put that in my notes. I said, what was that guy's game? Did he even get a chance to win? Question mark.
Yeah.
Did he must have already lost his
I
game.
assume.
His
And
game was to not shoot that heroin up.
you have a needle full of heroin in front of you. You have 6 hours to not shoot it up. Let the games begin. He just couldn't resist. Oh, man. So she throws this thing off, and right as she is sitting there sobbing about what she just had to do, she then looks up where she sees the Billy doll coming towards her on his cute little tricycle, and he says some shit about being grateful about being alive, which we find out here that Amanda is a longtime drug addict.
So was the guy that shot that heroin up, and she
So
couldn't resist.
one thing that, like, threw me off here was when Tap called her Mandy. I had to rewind it. I was like, did he just call her Mandy? And then he does it again. And I was like, Mandy. No one in the
I
whole entire franchise has ever called her Mandy.
Yeah, I just assumed that that was her legal name and that she goes by Amanda.
I feel like Mandy
It
is
threw
like,
me off too.
yeah,
Like
it's
that
weird.
was the only like thing I could think of is I mean,
I feel like
maybe Mandy's go by Amanda because
I think
Mandy's
he's,
such an awful name.
I think he's just one of those guys where he just doesn't fully read the report. He just skims it.
Maybe he's just doesn't like her for some reason.
He doesn't like drug
He doesn't
addicts.
like junkies. That's probably it.
Scum.
He's like one of those like cops that's like, you scum drug addict.
You're the scum of
Gonna
Cityton.
purposely call you a different name because I'm a dick.
Unnamed, non-real metropolitan city. So we then jump back to the dirty bathroom in our current timeline, and we see that Gordon is talking about his family. And he then tosses his wallet over to Adam so Adam can see his family photos. But as he flips through the pictures, he finds a Polaroid of Gordon's wife and daughter tied up with a message on the back that says X marks the spot. Sometimes you see more with your eyes shut. Now, despite this new clue, Adam decides to keep this to himself. We then jump on over to Gordon's house where we see this man in black who has been holding Gordon's family hostage during this whole thing is actually Zepp from the hospital. And as he looks out of the window, we are shown that now former Detective Tap is sitting across the street watching him. Because as we are going to find out, he never believed that Gordon wasn't Jigsaw.
Yep, sometimes you get stuck on the wrong lead and it ruins your career.
Yep, and life. We are then shown that Detective Tap has become obsessed with the Jigsaw Killer, and he now lives in this apartment across from Gordon with all of these newspaper articles all over the wall, and he is dead set on proving that Gordon is Jigsaw. But we are now left with the question of how Tap ended up this way. And we are about to find out as we then head into another flashback, which immediately starts after Dr. Gordon's trip to the police station. So we then cut to Tap sitting at the station late at night watching the tape of Billy the Puppet explaining the reverse bear trap to Mandy. When his partner Singh walks up and tells him that they're all going to the grill to have a beer. But right as Singh goes to leave, Tap calls him back over and they discover a clue in the video that helps them narrow down Jigsaw's murder lair, which they decide to go investigate, which is, of course, an abandoned creepy mannequin factory.
Yeah, how fucking horrifying.
The killer from Maniac would be in fucking heaven.
Like, abandoned factories, mannequins, abandoned mannequins, all of those are creepy on their own, but an abandoned mannequin factory, that's on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Just kill me now.
I couldn't have my lair there.
No.
Or unless I cleaned out the
I would
mannequins.
have to get the mannequins out of there
Yeah.
for sure.
So, as they head inside, this is another time Lee Winnell, he actually played Singh in this scene. So as they head inside and go upstairs, they pretty quickly find Jigsaw's crib, his chill spot, is his kickback zone. But there's no evil mastermind home at the moment. So while looking around, they find a man who is currently in a trap, still alive, which we see is a chair that is holding his head still with 2 drills on each side of his skull. Now, quick observation here. Why did Jigsaw put these really fancy satin red sheets over everything? Like, this is his lair. Like, no one else is supposed to be in there. Why has he got it, like, surprise?
Maybe.
And they're fancy. They're like velvet.
Maybe that's just his style, man.
Just super
He
dusty.
Just likes it.
Just too dusty in the factory, in the abandoned mannequin factory. He's like, I gotta cover all my shit up.
Maybe he just really likes felt.
Yeah, it's
Like blankets,
it's a weird
felt red blankets.
it's a weird style.
I feel like he got them for like wholesale on a website or something for
Where he got
super
his tape
cheap.
recorders?
Yeah.
He just
So I
orders
was like, "Oh, these are nice.
he guarantee orders all his shit from China.
Like,
They're all for cheap.
these are nice. They'll match my red and black robe,
Yeah.
and I could put them over stuff in my evil lair."
So, yeah, they, have basically caught Jigsaw red-handed here, and before they get a chance to set this guy free, they hear the elevator begin to come up to the top floor, and this is where things go completely to shit. As we then see Tap tell Sing that they gotta hide because, you ready for this? He just wants to see what Jigsaw's gonna do. And Sing responds exactly how I would. He's like, why? It's stupid. We got him. It's over. But no, no, no. Tap needs to see him commit just one more crime, I guess. Tap's like, wait, let's let him kill this guy. And then we for sure got enough to arrest him. I'm like, what the fuck?
Hey,
What are you
man,
doing?
the prosecutor's gotta have the evidence.
Yeah, it's not bad enough that we caught him coming back to the evil lair with a guy, like, hooked up in this murder chair. But he's like, let's just get him on one more thing. So Sing eventually caves, and they cover all the shit back up, and they run and hide. And then we see the elevator stop, open up, and out walks Jigsaw, who seems to be wearing a boxing robe. It's like, why? Why wear a disguise in your own evil lair?
Well, I think he knew that they were gonna be there.
Why does he have a boxing robe?
And the reason that I say that he knew that they were gonna be there is because not only did he cover everything up, but he tells that guy who he's about to drill through his fucking head, he's like, it's something along the lines of like, your game has been played, like the main character in your game is essentially more important than you. He says that in a lot nicer words, but essentially, it's not a full game, but he tells him, like, are you going to catch me, or are you going to save this man's life, or are you going to let him die? So it's almost, Jigsaw just being one step ahead of everybody else. And if he didn't come in with his boxing robe, his fucking identity would have been out there. So obviously he had to have a robe.
Well, like, it's kind of weird. Like, he goes through all this trouble of making the tapes, disguising his voice. He's got the whole Billy the Puppet doll that represents him, like, just to conceal his identity. And then he has this guy in a trap in his, like, HQ. Like, this is a kind of weird setup compared to maybe he ran out of abandoned factories to put people in trays. He's like, I got like 4 traps going right now. I'm out of room. You're going to have to just be like here in the headquarters. We'll just do it right here. Yeah, so they hide, and Jigsaw walks over and he starts talking shit to this guy that's in this trap. But a few seconds in, Sing and Tap jump out and yell freeze and get down on the ground and, all that cop shit. When suddenly Jigsaw stomps on this switch, which starts the trap, and then tells the 2 cops that they have 20 seconds to either save this man's life or arrest him. So it's Jigsaw or random innocent man's life.
Do you think he's maybe had this guy tied up there for a long time? And just think that's like his insurance policy.
It's true.
If the police ever show up.
It's
like this
very
guy may have
possible.
been there for maybe he's like every evil lair he has, he's got somebody tied up there.
The guy's like, I've shit my pants 4 times because I've been here for like 8 days. I don't know. So Tap then yells for Sing to toss him the gun and shut the trap off while he holds Jigsaw at gunpoint. I guess they only brought 1 gun. I'll take the 1 gun. It's like the New Jersey Police Department. Because a lot of people assume it's in New Jersey. It really doesn't have a name. Some people call it Cityton, just kind of basic city. But I guess they're pretty underfunded. They only got 1 gun.
Out of guns.
That's why they got to partner up.
Yeah.
We only got enough guns for
and
a
cars.
team.
I give one of them a car and one of them a gun.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's like y'all figured it out.
So Sing goes to grab this huge ring of keys, trying to figure out which key will unlock the guy from the trap, which I was like, just unplug it. Just unplug the trap.
Or shoot it.
Yeah. But the whole time that this is happening, Jigsaw, despite being held at gunpoint with the one gun, is slowly heading towards the elevator. Once Singh realizes that he's not going to be able to find the key in time, he then pulls out his pistol. So I guess they have one pistol and one shotgun in one car. He pulls out his pistol and he shoots the drill tips off, rendering the trap useless. When suddenly, Jigsaw has this huge blade that comes out of his boxing robe sleeve and slices Tap's neck open, allowing him to get away.
Bro, he just Assassin's Creeded that
He
fucking
did.
that detective's throat.
That's
Like,
why he's got the
detective-
boxing robe. That
Yeah.
wouldn't fit under a regular hoodie.
He's an assassin.
Yeah. Now, this isn't like a super deep cut, like Tap isn't going to die. He's just kind of fucked up right now. And this allows Singh to go after Jigsaw. He makes sure he goes and gets the one gun. And once they get downstairs, they're in this long hallway where we see Singh shoot Jigsaw in the back with the fucking 12-gauge shotgun, which most certainly would have killed him. So now that Jigsaw is laying on the ground, incapacitated, we then see Singh very cautiously approach him when he suddenly steps on a tripwire that pulls the trigger on like 5 shotguns above him, blowing his head off, killing him. Poor Singh, man. He just wanted to hit up the grill with his bros for a fucking beer. This could have been totally avoided if Tap wouldn't have made him do the stupid let's hide bullshit. I also believe this is our first cop death of many cop deaths in this franchise. I think more cops die than regular people throughout all the movies.
Yeah, I wonder if the police department could only afford birdshot, and that's why Jigsaw's fine.
Yeah, maybe.
There's just some birdshot in there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that is one thing about the Saw movies. There's a lot of cop death and a lot of cop plot.
Yeah, a lot of cop killing.
Saw-
Like, Ice-T would be all about this. So
Saw-
I'm surprised they don't play body count in the background.
Saw basically becomes a horror version of Law and Order. After like 3, I would say. Yeah, a lot of cop plot.
We even get a cop that becomes his accomplice.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cop. I think there's way more cop stuff than just regular people stuff in the Saw franchise. Pretty much after this one,
That's a lot of regular people stuff. There's just always cops.
there's always a
There's
cop
always
involved,
cops looking for him for
And
some reason.
there
It
also
just
seems
like a serial killer. I don't know why. There's always cops looking for
Yeah.
him.
He always brings in doctors too. There's always there's that one. Was it like it's like 2 or something where he's got that woman surgeon or whatever. She's in there. I think her husband's in the trap or something. She's in there with like John. You don't remember her?
No,
Oh.
I don't remember a woman surgeon.
Yeah,
But I'm sure that there probably was.
Yeah, she's like a
just-
big part of the plot of like 2 or 3. I can't remember.
She's not
It's-
working with him.
it's the one-
She's just one of the characters.
Yeah, she gets brought in. Like I think her husband is in the trap, but she doesn't know that. And then the husband escapes the trap, and they run into each other. And like, holy shit! It's the same one where the cop's son is in the safe the whole time.
Well,
there.
that's 2.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's another doctor. But so yeah, Detective Singh is now dead. And oh, by the way, that was Lee Winnell. The reason we didn't see the actual head blown up is that was Lee Winnell having to play that character again.
He wasn't Asian enough.
Yeah,
He couldn't play the head.
very Caucasian. So yeah, Detective Singh is now dead, and we see Tap stumble his stupid ass down there, and we also see that Jigsaw is alive and well as he gets up and he escapes the building. So now that Tap has ended up a bum with no job, no partner, totally obsessed with catching the Jigsaw killer, that is how we got to the point where we seen Tap earlier.
You know, Dr. Gordon and Jigsaw do not have the same body type either.
That was my next thing. Is
And
like
Tap has not he has not only seen this, but he's basing his entire life and career in this obsession based off of a pen.
yeah, it's so weird because like he meets Jigsaw in person, Like, Jigsaw and Gordon do not have even close to the same voice. He also couldn't tell it was, like, a much older, weaker guy under the boxing robe, obviously not middle-aged Dr. Gordon.
You probably seen Dr. Gordon, he's like, "Yeah, he's losing a lot of weight and getting weaker. He must feel me closing in
Yeah.
on him."
Another thing, too, I wanna bring up is we see Tap living in, like it's a very obvious abandoned building, which is located right across the street from Dr. Gordon's house.
Well, I think that was on purpose.
So why
That's Tap's, like, obsessed.
but why is Dr. Gordon, who's like a high-paying surgeon at the hospital, live across street from this, like, trashed, spray-painted, abandoned apartment building?
New Jersey, man, stuff's expensive.
Yeah, it's just weird. So, we then jump back to this gross-ass bathroom where we see Gordon and Adam trying to look for clues when suddenly Adam tells Gordon to cut the lights off, which reveals a glow-in-the-dark X on the wall next to Gordon. This was not real glow-in-the-dark paint. This was actually they just projected an X on the wall.
You could kinda tell.
Yeah. So he then finds a little wooden box hidden behind the tile, and when he opens this up, he finds that inside is a cell phone, 2 cigarettes, a lighter, which totally excites Adam, and a secret note that is just for Gordon, which says, "The cigarettes are harmless. Smoking is only poisonous when it ends in bloodshed. Think about this. You don't need a gun to kill Adam." Now, what's important to remember here is the dead guy in the middle of the room has poison in his blood. And in order for Gordon to get out of this alive, he must kill Adam before 6 o'clock. So, after reading this note, Gordon immediately tries to use the phone to call the police, but he very quickly learns that the phone is only programmed to receive calls and not make them. So the phone is pretty useless to them right now.
Yeah, it would be pretty stupid for him to give you a cell phone that
working
you
phone.
could call the police on.
And with this little bit of information, we are then thrown back into another flashback of Gordon's from the night before. So we start out by seeing Gordon walking through this parking garage that to me looks like a converted barn. It has a barn roof.
It is a very, very, very much not a parking garage.
It's not a
I don't know
parking
why they
garage.
didn't just shoot in a fucking parking garage.
Or just a parking lot.
You should have just did the guerrilla style, just
Yeah.
literally jumped out at a fucking parking garage with the cameras, shot it, and got
Very
out of
much not meant for a set for parking cars. Like, it looks so out of place. And he says that he feels like someone is watching him, which we see a camera flash go off, telling us that he is correct. So we then see Gordon attempt to leave the parking garage barn in his car, but the gate seems to be stuck closed. So he gets out and he tries to call somebody to open the gate. And while he is doing this, we see his back door open and a person in a red robe wearing the creepy ass pig mask that we have all grown to love crawl out of the back seat and begin sneaking up behind Dr. Gordon. Gordon then turns around where he is suddenly rushed by the pig mask person and attacked when he quickly blacks out, and that is how Gordon ended up in the dirty bathroom from hell. So after Gordon tells this story, he starts grilling Adam about how he knew about the glow-in-the-dark X, and at first, Adam tries to lie, but Gordon sees right through this, and finally Adam fesses up and shows Gordon the picture. So this pretty much reignites Gordon's needs to get out of this room as soon as possible, where we then see him take the cigarette and dip the filter in the poisonous blood. After he gets it ready, he then flips the lights off, which blinds the cameras, and he whispers to Adam to play along with his plan. Next, he flips the lights back on, where he then switches the poison cigarette with the normal one, tosses it to Adam, who, after taking a few hits, does the worst, most cartoon impression of dying I think I have ever seen.
Yeah, I would have shocked him just as punishment for this awful attempt at acting.
Yeah. As someone who used to smoke cigarettes, I would have 100% smoked that whole fucking cigarette before I pretended to die. Dude, you haven't had a cigarette in who knows how many hours. You're in this stressful situation, you finally get one, and you hit it twice and then fucking throw it on the ground and pretend like you're dying. Fuck that, I'll just smoke that whole goddamn thing.
Yeah, and on the whole, like, Adam hiding the shit, Dr. Gordon, like, calling him out for it, I would be like, at this point, what the fuck do you expect? Like, your whole game is to murder me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not really gonna help you out when I find a secret note in your wallet.
So now that Adam is laying on the floor pretending to be dead, Gordon then looks right into the camera and shouts, "There, I've killed him with the poison. Now where's my family?" When suddenly Adam gets electrocuted, pubing, proving that he's not really dead.
I was about to say, I missed that part.
So not only does this fuck up Gordon's plan, but it also jars Adam's memory as we then jump into one of his flashbacks, showing how he ended up in the dirty bathroom of hell. And if you thought the bathroom set was gross, wait till you see Adam's condemned apartment. This place is really fucking shitty. I hope his rent was like $100 a month because the walls are literally falling apart here.
Him and Detective Tap live at the same place.
It looks like it, honestly. Also, this set for this apartment reminds me so much of the movie Seven, which I found out in my research that according to Lee Winnell was a huge inspiration for this movie.
I could see that.
Yeah,
It's got
definitely.
very that just dirty, grimy feel.
Big city
A
look,
lot
yeah.
of detectives, like even just the whole cop vibe, the big city, dirty, grimy, mixed in with some very creepy, kind of unsettling in the horror moments. Yeah, I could see it.
Yep. So next we see Adam head into his dark room, which tells us that he is a photographer, and we see him begin to hang up pictures of Gordon, telling us that he is the one who has been following Gordon around taking pictures, explaining the flash in the parking garage barn. So Adam ends up falling asleep for a few hours, and when he wakes up, he realizes that his electricity has been cut off. Now, considering he doesn't have a working flashlight, he ends up using his camera flash to navigate through the apartment, where he quickly hears that he is not in there alone. Cinematography wise, the camera flash was genius to me.
Yeah.
It's very fucking creepy, and you just know that during one of these flashes, you're gonna see some scary shit. So it's very good at building anticipation and dread. I think it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, agreed. Cinematography, the build up. It's like I said, they do a really good job at the unsettling, creepy moments that they do have in the movie. They do a really good job setting those up. And the fucking doll. The doll would have freaked me out so bad, and it being, like, so loud, I probably would have beat it with a baseball bat too. Even though I know somebody else is probably in the apartment, just the laugh alone while I'm trying to listen for whoever's going through my apartment would have creeped me out and pissed me off a lot.
So the camera flash thing, I actually found out this is a reference to James Stewart in a Alfred Hitchcock's movie Rear Window from 1954.
Mm.
Yeah.
I missed out on that one.
Yeah, so did I. So he's walking through the apartment using the camera flash to see when suddenly he begins to hear Billy the Puppet's creepy ass laugh, which causes him to turn around where he sees the doll sitting in a chair. So he then picks up a baseball bat and beats Billy to death, I guess. And just when he thinks it's all over, he hears someone in the closet. It's R. Kelly.
Think he was confused when he was beating Billy and just paper towel rolls started flopping out.
So he then walks over, slowly opens the door, pushes the button on the camera, and when the flash goes off, we see Jigsaw in the red robe wearing the pig mask, standing perfectly still when suddenly he jumps towards Adam and knocks him unconscious. This is one of the scariest scenes of the movie, and I love this scene.
Yeah, I think it is the scariest scene for sure. I think the pig mask and the boxer robe thing that whole vibe that Jigsaw does is creepy as
Yeah,
fuck. I also love that Jigsaw kinda has, like, 2 creepy personas. He has, like, that version of him and the doll.
yeah. I love how the red gown and the pig mask, it stays relevant through the whole franchise too.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah,
awesome that they
his
don't.
accomplices
Yeah,
end up taking up that nice look,
yeah.
nice suit that he puts on.
So, after Adam tells his story of how he ended up here, the cell phone suddenly rings, which Gordon immediately answers and hears that it is his young daughter on the line. And we see that her and her mother have been tied up in the bedroom with Zep holding a gun to their heads. Zeb then puts Gordon's wife Allison on the phone where she tells him not to trust Adam and his lies and that Adam knew who Gordon was before today, which we, the viewer, just found out about after we saw the photos in Adam's apartment. So, this, of course, sends Gordon off on this emotional train wreck where he then confronts Adam about what Allison just said on the phone. And when Adam tries to deny it, this sends Gordon into a rage, which causes him to call Adam a liar. To which Adam then responds by calling out Gordon for cheating on his wife last night. And this is where it is revealed that the parking garage barn did not belong to the hospital like Gordon said earlier. It actually belonged to a hotel that Gordon was at where he was meeting one of his medical students for sex.
Yeah, after hearing my wife say that, like, "Don't trust Adam," and then him fessing up to it, I'd have no problem killing Adam at this point. Like, I know that my child and my wife are tied up, and now I know that this guy's been lying to me the whole time. I don't need to hear anything else. I'm game.
Well, I did kind of pick up on the fact that Jigsaw is doing these things to push Gordon into killing Adam, which goes back to my original theory that Jigsaw hates Adam.
Yeah, I mean,
Has no plans for Adam to live through this.
going as far as to tying his wife and young daughter up, and he's like, literally, if you fail, I'm gonna murder them and just leave you in here to
Yeah.
rot. So, that I mean, that's not really Jigsaw's thing. Like, his thing is normally working on one's inner self through self-mutilation to save your own life.
It's a new Eastern
Uh,
medicine thing that
yeah.
people are doing.
But yeah, he doesn't really normally fuck with people's family, and my thought was like, would Jigsaw have really
Kill a
killed
child.
or let a child, like a little child that was innocent, be murdered?
If it makes Gordon a better person, yeah. And Adam dies. So we then get a quick flashback that shows Gordon back in the parking garage barn, where it shows that Adam was the one with the camera flash. Now, considering this was right before Gordon was abducted, you would think Adam would have seen something, but according to him, he left right when Gordon got into his car.
Yeah, considering, like, he goes into this motel and this whole phone call thing happens and he's leaving and there's a flash of a camera right afterwards, I would instantly know that the two were related.
Yeah. So once Adam calls Gordon out about this, Gordon, of course, denies it and swears that he was at the hospital. But then we see Adam reach into the bathtub and pull out that black bag that we saw earlier, where he pulls out all of his photos of Gordon. Adam then explains that he was paid to follow Gordon around and take pictures by a guy he only knows as Bob, which he has been doing this for a few days now. And this is where Adam asks him what he actually did in the hotel room because it doesn't seem like he was in there long enough to have sex with this woman. And this, of course, launches us into another flashback where we see Gordon going into the hotel room with this medical student. Now, we see here right off the bat, Gordon is not happy that she paged him while he was at home with his family, and he then begins to break the relationship off, saying that he feels bad for cheating on his wife. But as he goes to leave, the phone rings. So after she picks it up, She immediately hands the phone over to Gordon, saying that they want to talk to him. And when he gets on the phone, we hear that it is Zepp telling him that he knows what Gordon is up to. Gordon then hangs up and goes to leave, and this is where he gets abducted in the parking garage barn.
Man, if you're Dr. Gordon, you know you have truly fucked up when you send your side piece to the shittiest motel in town and you get a call for you in that hotel room. Like,
This could be the best hotel in town from what we've seen so far.
I wouldn't even take this call. I would be
No.
like, "Oh,
Tell 'em I'm not here."
I'm busted." Well, you gotta know, like, in a real life scenario outside of Jigsaw trying to murder you, you're like, I'm busted.
Yeah,
My wife knows.
I'd be
I
like,
don't need to get on that phone to know I'm caught.
you seriously could not have thought about covering for me and saying, "Who?"
Yeah.
Like, you were just like, "Yeah, hold on, he's here."
Yeah.
He's about halfway inside of me right now, hold on.
Clearly, like, not game tight at all. She pages you at your house and then doesn't even cover for you
She
here.
does admit she doesn't know how to have an affair.
She clearly wants Dr. Gordon to get a
caught?
divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We then see Gordon begin grilling Adam about who this Bob is, which at first Adam says he doesn't know who the guy is or what he looks like, which Gordon gets very frustrated by this. And then Adam says, "I don't know anything about him except that he is a tall black guy with a scar on his neck," which it is then revealed that it is former Detective Tapp who paid Adam to follow Gordon around. Because remember, he's dead set on proving that Gordon is Jigsaw, despite the fact that he met Jigsaw in real life and they share very little resemblance.
Yeah, this is one of the couple great twists of the movie.
Yeah.
Because you think that
It's
Jigsaw
Jigsaw,
has
yeah.
been doing this, and it's not.
Yeah, I just picture, because Jigsaw obviously knew about this, and he's just sitting there, rubbing his hands like Mr. Burns, like, yes, yes. This is playing out so perfectly. So this causes Gordon to freak out on Adam, who then kind of throws it in his face that the cheating on his wife thing, and this is where Gordon screams at the top of his lungs that he did not cheat on his wife. Now, I would very much disagree with that statement. He didn't cheat on his wife last night, but according to his interaction at the hotel, he had definitely been sleeping with that medical student in the days or weeks before.
And it's probably not the first, if he's fucking his medical student.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Even if he had not fucked her prior to that, sneaking off to meet with a medical student in a motel, you have
cheating.
cheated. You have crossed the line.
Yeah. So after things calm down a bit, Adam starts looking at the pictures that were in the black bag. And this is where he discovers a photo that he took that shows Zepp inside Gordon's house the night before, which he quickly shows to Gordon, who recognizes him, telling them and us that Zepp is the real Jigsaw killer. And we get a quick shot of Gordon's house where we see Zepp watch this on the monitor, and then it is revealed that the clock has hit 6 and Gordon has still not killed Adam. So time is up. Gordon's family now has to die. We then see Zepp cut the monitor off and prepare the gun, but as he is heading into the bedroom, we see that Allison has managed to get her hands untied. But she doesn't reveal this at first. She plays it smart, pretending that she is still restrained. Zeb then puts her on the phone with Gordon for one last goodbye. But as soon as he answers, she attacks Zeb where they begin fighting over the gun. This eventually causes the gun to go off, where we see that Tapp, who is across the street, hears this and immediately runs over to Gordon's house to see what the hell's going on. Allison then stabs Zeb in the leg with a pair of scissors, which buys her enough time to get her daughter untied and escape, and before Zeb can go after her, Tapp bursts in the door where they begin having a shootout. Now the whole time this is happening, Gordon is on the phone listening, so he's freaking the fuck out thinking his family is being murdered. Zeb ends up getting away with Tapp chasing after him, And this is where we get this really weirdly filmed car chase, I guess. Zep is heading to where Gordon and Adam are being kept because he's going to kill them since he can't kill the family. So the car chase, it's bad. The car chase is not good. It's obviously on a super cheap budget because it was filmed in the garage warehouse, the
I was
garage
about to
barn.
Oh,
And
I thought I was about to say, like, at James Bond's garage.
no, it was no, it was like the garage barn that we've been talking about. And what they did was they turned off the lights and they added a bunch of fog and then they shook the cars by hand.
Yeah. That's why I thought you were gonna say, like, an actual, like, garage.
Yeah, this is
That's
one of the worst probably the worst car chase I've ever seen. It's
They
just them
didn't have
sitting, just
money.
turning the wheel like back and forth, like not really driving.
You know what, though? I'll take this over a ridiculous CGI-filled car chase. I'll say that.
They're about even for me.
I don't need the car chase. Like, I'm not into the whole, like, 80s
give me an
action.
80s car chase, man.
Nah, you could skip the car chase. All I need to know is that he drove there and somebody was following him or chasing him, and that they gave me enough to show me that. I don't need the whole actual chase.
So back in the bathroom, Gordon begins hearing the cell phone ring again, but unfortunately it is out of his reach. He can't get to it. And this causes him to just finally lose it, where he then says, fuck it. He grabs the saw and begins sawing through his own leg in order to get out of the chain and get to the phone. So we then see Zep and Tap arrive at the abandoned warehouse, where after a lengthy chase scene, Tap ends up catching up to Zep, where they fight over the gun, which ends when Zep manages to shoot Tap in the chest, killing him. After Gordon removes his foot with the saw, we then see him crawl over to the dead body in the middle of the room, grab the gun, and load the one single bullet that he was given in the beginning of the movie. And this, of course, leaves a still chained up Adam freaking the fuck out. We then see a very pale Gordon aim the now loaded gun at Adam and fire, which hits Adam somewhere in the chest area, where we then see him drop to the ground, assumingly dead.
I just gotta say, because we can skim over this, the whole Dr. Gordon sawing his leg off is obviously like one of the most pivotal points of this movie, of the whole franchise. It's what really, I think, stuck people.
It's on the cover.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, his sawed off leg is on the
yeah, it's
cover of the movie.
one of the things you definitely think of when you think of this movie or the franchise as a whole. I love how it literally took him being driven to that place
Yeah.
to do it. I thought the guy who played Dr. Gordon fucking played that part through amazing. And one thing I really love about this scene is Adam starts to get scared and freak out while this is happening. Like, not because he's about to die. He gets scared when Dr. Gordon starts freaking out, like before he even starts sawing his leg off. And it was very genuine of a guy in a situation where somebody has completely lost it, and he's like, "Hey, man, I need you. Like,
Well, they need
please, like,
yeah.
please calm down. Like, I need you. Like, just stop." And it was just that whole scene, man. Was both of them did a great job.
Yeah, can definitely say that, we don't know how long exactly they've been in this room, but I do think by this point they have done at least some kind of trauma bonding where they've, tried to work together without either one of them dying to get out of this situation. And Adam now sees 50% of his little group here, 50% of his possibility of surviving, literally losing his fucking mind across the room, and he cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, and I mean, he's also got the fact that Dr. Gordon is cutting his leg off to get to a gun to kill him.
Yeah.
But I don't even think he's thought that far into it. Like, when he sees Dr. Gordon cutting his leg off, like, he's genuinely freaking out for Dr. Gordon.
Yeah.
And that he does a really good job at conveying that through his acting.
So, a now very upset Gordon begins crying as he looks over at the camera and yells, "There, I've done it, now show them to me." Next, we see a beaten and injured Zepp slide open the big metal door to the bathroom where he finds a now dead Adam and a close to dead Gordon. Gordon then attempts to shoot him with his gun, but it is totally empty. Zeb then points his gun at Gordon, telling him it is too late and he has to die, to which Gordon only has one question for him: why? Zeb then responds with, "Because it's the rules." And right before he shoots Gordon in the head, he gets attacked from behind by a still alive Adam who ends up beating his brains in with the toilet lid. Gordon then crawls over and consoles a very upset Adam, telling him that he purposely shot him in the shoulder and he will be okay because he is going to crawl out of here and bring back help. So, very smart move by Gordon pretending to kill Adam. So, after Gordon crawls out of the room, Adam begins to go through Zepp's pockets to look for a key, and this is where he stumbles upon a little tape recorder just like his. And when he hits play, he hears Jigsaw's voice explain that Zepp is also being tested by Jigsaw because he injected Zepp with a slow-acting poison, and the only way to get the antidote was to do this to Adam and Gordon's family, which leaves Adam completely stunned once he realizes that the real Jigsaw, the person who actually did this to them, is still out there. And while he is sitting there in disbelief, the fucking dead body in the middle of the room, which has been there the whole time, gets up, revealing that he was never really dead. And we then see that the real Jigsaw is actually Dr. Gordon's patient that we seen earlier, John motherfucking Kramer.
Will the real Jigsaw please stand up?
And after he strips off his fake bloody head wound, he then looks over at Adam and tells him that the key to his chain was in the bathtub with him, which we saw go down the drain with that little blue light on it at the very first shot of the movie. And we then get this quick little montage that explains why John Kramer is doing this. He basically got cancer, doesn't have a lot of time left to live, and he is trying to pick people that do not appreciate their time left here on Earth and show them that they should change their ways and really enjoy their life in good health instead of doing fucked up shit to themselves and other people. He then delivers a quick shock to Adam as he walks towards the door, and Adam then screams in fear as Jigsaw cuts off the light and slams the door shut as he yells, "Game over," leaving Adam to die of starvation, chained to a wall in complete darkness. And that is the end of Saw. 10 out of 10 ending.
Yeah, Adam coming in clutch to kill Zepp was fucking awesome. I do wonder, like, what, like, Adam's whole thing was he was supposed to, like, fight for his life instead of standing by and, like, watching others live their life, and he did. Like, he killed Zepp, and what would John Kramer have done with him had he not, like, freaked out and went to go shoot him before John electrocuted him? Like, what would he have still just left him there to die? I mean, technically, he won his game.
Yeah, this is a little weird
He
of
doesn't
how.
know who John Kramer is.
No,
He has no idea.
no,
Huh.
he's not connected to John Kramer at all.
But yeah, as far as the ending goes, like one of the greatest twists of I will say probably the greatest twist of the 2000s on twist endings, at least in the top 5. The fact that the main killer been laying in the middle of the floor this whole time, and you never like, I had to try to take myself back to the first time I ever watched Saw and the shock that I got when I discovered that the guy who you never even question that he's even, like, possibly alive because his brains are, like, blown out, in the middle of the floor and he is the killer. Like, that was fucking genius. Like, I almost wonder if they wrote the whole movie just based around that idea.
They did, so the twist ending was one of the reasons why their agent in Australia recommended they take the script to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's good, man, and on top of being one of the best twists, it is one of the best setups for the sequel because it's extremely ambiguous as to what happens to Dr. Gordon, which sets stuff up like multiple movies from now. You know, we see he's in pretty rough shape the last time he was seen. That's kind of it. And we roll right into the next movie, and you know, it's a really good setup. If you're watching this movie as a production company, how do you not green light it for a second movie, even if it does moderately okay?
yeah. All right, I got some interesting facts here. So, director James Wan wanted the camera movements to reflect the two main characters' emotions and personalities. He filmed Dr. Gordon with steady controlled shots, and Adam was filmed with handheld shots to capture their emotions of the situation. So, all Adam scenes are very shaky, all Dr. Gordon scenes are very still, which I thought was a really cool kind of thing that messes with your subconscious. The film contains many references to films of Italian horror and giallo director Dario Argento. The creepy painted puppet is a reference to Argento's Deep Red from 1975, which is probably the most famous giallo movie, while the unseen killer's black gloves are one of Argento's trademarks and can be seen in almost all of his films. This was, like I said, this led me to the path of actually picking this movie as I was going through a lot of those movies. And those movies are pretty much all cop plot movies. Very similar.
I have Arrow's 4K scan box set of Deep Red
Oh,
that
wow. I didn't know
we
that.
might have to dig into.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Tobin Bell refused to let them use a dummy or a stand-in and volunteered to lay face down for all scenes set in the bathroom. What a fucking trooper, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Lawrence is loading the cartridge into the revolver to shoot Adam, the camera briefly shows all 6 chambers of the cylinder to be empty. Revolvers don't eject spent cartridges, yet the man on the floor was supposed to have shot himself with the same gun. What looked to be a simple prop error is actually a subtle foreshadowing to the twist ending.
They
It was
give
on
you a
purpose.
little hint there.
Yeah, they also give you another hint where the shot where the only other shot we see John Kramer in the hospital, apparently sitting in front of him is his drawing of the reverse bear trap.
Huh. I didn't pick up on
I didn't
that.
either.
One thing I love that they do, they do in this movie what we said that they should have did, and the only thing that they did wrong in the original Friday the 13th was whenever we said they should have had Pamela Voorhees
Yeah.
just a small side part,
In the
like
shop or
in the
something.
cafe
Yeah.
or something. Just make her somewhere in the movie so you could connect those points at the end when you found out who the killer was. And they did it in this movie, and I thought it was a genius way to do it because they introduced Zepp at the same time, and he makes this weird comment about John, and it just makes you think even more when you think Zepp is Jigsaw, like, yeah, this guy's fucking weird. And it all connects together so good.
So John had actually intended for Adam to be able to escape from the room, which is why he tells him that the key to his chain is in the bathtub. However, it went down into the drain when Adam inadvertently drained the tub. As revealed in Saw 3, the actions of Amanda prevented Adam from escaping. She threw the key onto his chest instead of putting it in his pocket, hinting that she was aware that he could lose. So she is the reason that Adam didn't have any fucking chance of getting out of there. And we do find out later on that Jigsaw gets frustrated because Amanda is trying to straight up kill these
Oh,
people.
yeah, that
And this
becomes
is
a whole thing.
Yeah, and this is the first instance. So basically, right off the bat, she is trying to kill these people.
Uh-huh.
She fucked Adam's escape up because Adam was supposed to be able to find the fucking, and that was the thing is Adam was going to be able to unlock himself and get free. And now Gordon got to try to kill him before he can fucking figure this out and get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she fucked it all up.
Yeah. Yeah, he, that I mean, yeah, from what I remember, he kinda is on his deathbed, he's passing the torch on to her completely, and she starts rigging the games against everybody, and he has to kinda step in, and there's, one of the detectives from another movie
Yeah, it's like
becomes his other accomplice.
yeah, like one of the
I think
Wahlberg
it's, like,
guys or
Eric
something. Yeah, it's
Matthews,
Eric Matthews. Yeah.
yes, and he is those 2 end up kind of feuding as to who's gonna be the main successor, and that culminates in Dr. Gordon is actually, working with Jigsaw behind the scenes this whole time. He's just not one of the main people, and he ends up setting those 2 up in their game. And I thought that was really fucking awesome. That if you watch the movies in order, Dr. Gordon does survive this. He ends up admiring Jigsaw. He helps him through multiple of his traps. And then the 2 main successors of Jigsaw, when they start fucking up, Dr. Gordon steps in for Jigsaw and fucking sets that shit straight.
Yeah, I would love to watch. It's another one of those franchises where I want to do like the whole watch through and kind of do like some Patreon episodes on each one or something. I have never watched all the movies together,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
a challenge.
so yeah, I'm sure what I just said was probably maybe a little confusing
I
if
know
you haven't watched it.
I remember most of that stuff, but I don't remember. There's a lot of
It's
details I don't remember until you bring it up.
that's why I said that even with Jigsaw being revealed as to being John Kramer, this franchise does such a good job at always keeping you on your toes as to who exactly is behind it. Because there ends up being multiple successors and they always find a way to write a good twist into the ending.
All right, so ratings and kill count. We got a total of 7 kills. We have Paul, who was bled to death from razor wire. Mark, who was killed by the flammable fire jelly. Random guy, I don't know his name. He was butchered by Mandy. Detective Singh was shot by the shotgun trap. A Tap, who was shot by Zepp. Zepp had his head bashed in by Adam. And finally, Adam, who was left for dead. My favorite kill, and this is probably going to come as a surprise, was Adam. We don't see it, which makes it leaves my imagination to come up with it. And just thinking about how horrible of a death that is, like he is going to days to starve to death. And he's in a dark room. He can't fucking move. He's chained up. Like, it just gives me the creeps, man.
They actually later on when it's revealed that Dr. Gordon is working with Jigsaw, they revisit this
I know,
bathroom
and we see him
his
dead.
fucking corpse is in there.
That's why I counted him on the kill count. We know for a fact that he dies here. My second favorite was Paul. Him all tangled up in the wire was awesome. But yeah, the Adam kill, man. Out of all the ways people die in this movie, that would be the one that I would fucking absolutely not wanna go through.
So my best kill was Paul with the razor wire. Although we only get some quick glimpses of his actual attempt at escaping the aftermath, and this whole set was so amazing that set and him tangled up in that fucking wire and like its stomach acid being on the ground under him, all that shit was enough to stick in my head. Every time I think of this franchise, I think of that kill, or at least when I think of the games. And then my second was Zep. Adam Adam smashing Zepp's head in with the back of the toilet. The toilet that Zepp made him stick his hand in a bowl of shit.
Yeah, that kill was done with just having Lee Winnell beat a trash bag full of fake blood with a toilet seat lid.
Nice.
Um,
Good shit.
yeah. So my rating in this movie is a 4.6. Despite the sets not really making much sense and they kind of drive me crazy a little bit, I still really love this movie, man. I love the grimy feel. I love the small cast. The sets are decorated phenomenally. But the biggest factor is the end. Like, it's such a good story and it's an amazing ending. And the imagery is also a 5 out of 5. Like, it has amazing imagery. I love Seven. Seven's one of my favorite movies, and this has very similar imagery. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.6.
Well, I gave it a 4.4. Overall, absolute classic. Spawned a massive franchise, which was, in my opinion, one of the most original concepts of the 2000s. Extremely well written and thought out story. Like I said, it's really hard to watch this from the perspective of not knowing that John Kramer is Jigsaw, considering how infamous the character has become. But with that said, the reveal at the end was just absolutely genius. The practical effects and makeup were great. The set designs were incredible for the budget. Like the shitty rundown fucking apartment, the shitty rundown motel, and then of course the famous bathroom. All great set designs. Thought the characters were great. Not a whole lot of them, but our main characters all did fantastic. I really love the dark and grimy feel of not just this, but all the Saw movies outside of, I think it's Jigsaw, where they have the bunch of the CGI kills and shit.
Yeah, there's one of them. I don't remember
That
which
one was,
one.
yeah, that one, and I think it's Jigsaw and the one from the book of Jigsaw, which I don't really count that as even
Oh,
part
you're
of
talking
it.
about Spiral?
Yeah, Spiral, I don't even really count that as part of the actual Saw series, and then Jigsaw had all the CGI. It didn't have that same dark, grimy feel, but, yeah, overall, man, the writing and originality of the franchise is what stands out the most to me. Good shit.
Yep, really good movie. So that's our take on Saw. Once again, we thank you guys for listening. Please give us a follow or like if you enjoyed the show. Check out the website, check out the socials. Tell a friend, a family member, or your favorite creepy puppet about the show. And we hope to see you next time. Game over.